Now finally, let's see how we can add a group of radio buttons here. So to add a radio button using Bootstrap, we need a markup like this. We start with a div with the class radio. Inside this div, we need a label. And inside this label, we need an input of type radio. Now, radio buttons allow only one selection. So we need to assign these radio buttons to a group. And in that group, we'll have only one selection. So here we need to set another attribute. That is name. That's the name of the group. Let's use our contact method as an example. Contact method. Okay, so tab. All right, so this is the actual markup. We have a div with the class radio. Inside that, we have a label. And inside that, we have an input of type radio. Now we put the actual label here. So back to our example of contact methods, let's add email as a label here and set the value of this input field to 1. Now this is how we hard code a bunch of radio buttons in our form. Sometimes you need to render them dynamically, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a few seconds. So let's duplicate this radio button like this. For the second one, I'm going to set the label to phone and change the value to 2. Back in the browser. So this is what we get, and we have a single selection in that group. Now, just like other input fields, we need to apply the ngModel directive on each of these radio buttons. So ngModel, and one more time, ngModel. Note that currently our input fields have a name attribute, so we don't have to reset them. Now back in the browser. So our contact method property currently doesn't have a value. But if I select email, now the value of this property is 1. Or if I select phone, it's 2. Perfect. So if you want to hard code radio buttons, this is how you do it. But what if you want to render them dynamically based on the objects that you retrieve from the server? Well, it's very easy. So let's delete this second radio button. We want to repeat this markup for each contact method. So once again, we apply the ng4 directive here. Let method of contact methods. Now for the value, we're going to use property binding and bind this to method.id. And for the label, we want to use interpolation and render method.name. As simple as that. Back to the browser. Now our contact methods are rendered dynamically.